Welcome to Man Cove Wellbeing, and today an MCW member shares a little bit about their story. Please read the disclaimer before watching. This can be found in the description of the video on YouTube. The videos on this channel and its content are not a substitute for the support and guidance of a qualified health professional. The people featured in this video are in no way associated with the story or representative of MCW. We want to thank every woman who shares a story about men in their life with the MCW community. Thank you. Please watch and listen with care. The content of this video and audio may be triggering or may make you feel uncomfortable. Please press the stop button and return to the video when you feel ready. Always put yourself first and seek the guidance of a health professional. Thank you.
My brother is my best friend. Born 2 years before me, he was my first joyful and secure attachment. We had different dads, but we didn't even know that. My dad was who he called dad, and we shared the same last name. When our dad, who was a formal pastor of the church, was busy snorting coke and being sent off to jail, our mom found a new boyfriend. We moved in with him, and suddenly we had a new baby brother as well. Thankfully, my brother and I were so attached, we made each other laugh, we played outside until it was dark. He protected me and I protected him. We rode bikes, swam, rollerbladed, and even shared a room together. My brother was an incredible athlete. He was handsome and tall. He could jump really high and everyone wanted him on their basketball team. I was simply known as his little sister. I always tried to keep up with him. He pushed me to be strong and brave and competitive and fight for what I needed. If he couldn't do it, I would step in and figure it out. Our codependency started very early. We were all we had. Our new stepdad never played with us. He was a workaholic and yelled all the time. He was angry at my mother for spending all of his money. He would punch holes in the walls and break and throw things at my mom. Many times she would pack us up in the car and take us to see relatives for a short while, until we would return home to the same chaos and anger. One day a man came to visit us. We were told that he was my brother's dad and my brother and I would go visit him. We had fun, but it seemed a bit strange. He was nice enough, a little strict, but at least we had each other to make sure we were still okay. We returned back to home as life per usual. However, our mother started seeing another man. She would take us to his house, send us to the walk-in closet while we could hear them having sex. Soon they were seeing each other more and more. She would tell us to lie to our angry stepdad, not to mention the new man's name. Then one day, my big brother's dad came back. He visited with a fancy yellow dirt bike and told my brother that he would teach him how to ride it at his house during the summer. My brother never came home after that. He was 11 and I was 9. Suddenly my mom and baby brother and I were moving in with her new boyfriend. My best friend was gone and the only explanation I got was, he was starting to have anger issues and it was just better that he go live with his dad. I was lost. I had my own friends, but it just wasn't the same. I started smoking pot and just never wanted to be home. I talked to my brother sometimes on the phone. He was not doing good. He was sad and we missed each other a lot. My mom seemed as if life was going on just fine, married and pregnant now with her 4th child from this new man. I just really wanted nothing to do with any of it. She kept herself busy by getting more and more animals. Suddenly the chaos of a bipolar stepfather, another baby brother, and over 100 farm animals really made me feel insignificant and completely disorganized. At age 12, I decided to go move with my dad, who had a girlfriend and told me she would take care of me. Since my dad was okay with me smoking pot, I made friends quickly who all loved to come to my house. My stepmom worked all day, which was the opposite of my stay-at-home mom. My dad was a stay-at-home dad attempting to work by putting church sermons on the internet and selling them. I also had 2 more little brothers that were at this house. I don't even want to know how young they were when they started smoking pot and taking pills. Just 13 years old now, I was surrounded by an alcoholic and a pill addict stepmom and a dad who was also addicted to OxyContin and helping my stepmom stay out of pain. He would take her to the ER frequently for her headaches and seizures. He would travel to Mexico to get more pills. The 3 of us kids were left to figure out our own lives. I stopped and then dropped out of high school, had a boyfriend, and started doing ecstasy on the weekends. I didn't care about anything else. I'm still surprised I never got pregnant. Even though my stepmom was an alcoholic, she still believed in me and would tell me all the time how smart I was and how I could become a doctor one day. My boyfriend broke up with me and I was heartbroken. I decided to move back to my mom's. I started going to church with my mom and even accepted Jesus into my heart. I started turning my life around thanks to many of my friends' parents who helped me along the way. I finished high school via continuation school. Meanwhile, my big brother was now living in his car and started doing meth. He went and lived with my dad and stepmom for a while, but this just made things worse. He tried OxyContin and then heroin, and my stepmom soon became a heroin addict. Since I lived with my mom again, I had a new faith, and I believed we could rescue my brother and bring him home. He just needed to be home and to know he was loved. My mom said okay. He came home, got a job, started working out a lot, but was drinking and doing whatever prescription pills he could take. I got married at 20 to a youth pastor, thinking this would make my life normal. My new marriage was met with my challenges of not dealing with my past. I brought my brother to the apartment complex we lived in and tried to help him. I could still try and get him off pills. Meanwhile, as I was going through nursing school, my stepmom died of a multi-system organ failure secondary to all the drugs she was on. My dad was totally lost. He and one of my little brothers moved to be closer to all of us, but he was extremely unhealthy, still smoking pot and taking OxyContin for pain. My mom hired my dad to help him get a side job, turned into lying, stealing, and more chaos. I was now an ER nurse and I could be on the front lines of saving lives. I could be ready if an OD came in. I wanted to know what to do and have some control of chaos. After 5 years, I left my youth pastor husband and I married an ER doctor. I didn't let my dad walk me down the aisle because he had stolen from me and also tried to get my husband and I fired from our jobs at the hospital for saying we violated his privacy while he was sick in our ICU. All we tried to do was help. I tried very hard to pretend like my outside world wasn't affecting me and I could handle it. I got pregnant with our first son and refused to let my dad meet him. He was devastated and apologized. I never responded. I was angry and hurt and was trying to move on and didn't trust him. A month later, I got a text from him telling me he wouldn't be around much longer. His world was becoming very small. All he had was a few friends and one of my brothers. Not much time later, we got a phone call that he was found dead in his room. The death certificate says heart attack. I say otherwise, but I didn't want to do an autopsy. I already knew. Once my son was born, I went into a deep depression. I remember holding him while he was screaming and I was bawling because even though being a mother was so hard, I just really couldn't understand why my mom had sent her own son away. I was angry. My big brother was getting worse and worse. He was living in his car, and this time I really couldn't do anything but show up and check on him and let him know I loved him no matter what. I apologized for him being sent away. I had survivor's guilt and wanted him to know he was loved and wasn't worthless like my mom made him feel. He told me about how his dad would leave him alone for a week at a time while he would go work in another town. My brother was left to feed himself, get himself to school via the bus. He said he had a few friends, but it was horrible. His dad was so strict he wasn't allowed to walk on the carpet with socks on because he didn't want lint on the carpet. He had no TV and barely any dial-up internet. He started playing basketball and eventually made some friends. He ended up becoming the basketball star at his school, but once high school ended, his dad kicked him out because he didn't want to go to college. He said his dad made him feel like he could never do anything right. He was always in trouble and never good enough. So he just gave up trying. He turned to drugs and alcohol. Ironically, I was blessed with a daughter after my son. I have the big brother and the little sister. I watched them replay our old reality. When my kids fight, I would get angry at them. I couldn't understand why they couldn't be best friends. I wanted them to be best friends. They needed to know they had each other. My brother is still around. I check on him. I've gone through phases of allowing him to live with me, moving his stuff from place and storage, giving him money, bought him a car, taking him to doctor's appointments, helping him get out of tickets and court fees. I created a successful business, telling myself and my brother I would buy him a house one day. However, once I finally realized my own addiction of wanting to save him and doing everything within me to convince him he was loved, I finally had to let go. I asked him to go to rehab, and he said no. I've done my part. Just a few days ago, he told me he watched the movie The Way Back with Ben Affleck, who is an alcoholic and a previous basketball star. My brother knows he has a problem, but he has to be the one to find his way back, and I will be here to remind him I love him every step of the way. Love and connection is the only thing I can give him. I wasn't the one who abandoned him or neglected him. We both desperately want our mom and his dad to know the pain, but they won't acknowledge it. We can't blame them. We must move on and not let them win. It's not easy, and it breaks my heart to watch him destroy himself and live in the past. Unlike my dad, my brother will know I love him until the day he dies.
Thank you for watching, and if you're seeking support with your emotional or mental health, please contact one of the helplines listed in the description of this video on YouTube. We hope this was useful, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, and even provide your own content, please subscribe and contact us at the links below. Why not join the MCW community and support our mission by becoming a patron today, with a host of benefits, exclusive access to patron-only content, and helping us make the change. We want to thank our patrons listed above. We want to thank all men and women who share their stories with us. That's all from us today, and we'll see you soon.